What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. Hope everyone is safe and well on this Wednesday as we look forward to the weekend's action. Tonight, don't forget, people, we will be doing a Champions League watch-along tonight. Couldn't get back in time to do the one yesterday, but today we'll be doing Real Madrid against PSG. Big game tonight. And just because we're not in the Champions League don't mean we can't be involved, people. Hopefully, we will be back in there next season, that is for damn sure. Big up to each and every one of you for tuning in. Thank you for your support as always. Lick down that like button and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch as well. Link in the description. We are going to get started, don't worry. Big up to the C unit. Big up each and every time. Pep Teta, man. I still can't believe you got that picture up, man. Right, let's go into Xhaka mode. I'm glad somebody reminded me, because a few of the streams I haven't done it, and you do notice a big difference. Trust me, the comments fly in, which is a credit to the community and how much interaction we have on this channel. So there we go. We're in Granit Xhaka mode, and we're going to be discussing today Alexander Lacazette. A few stories coming out about his contract and potentially him staying at Arsenal, or does he leave Arsenal? And I want to know what you guys think about that. We're also going to talk about a story that has come out that apparently Arsenal looking to sign 6 players this summer in a mass clear out that they believe is going to finish off kind of getting rid of the players that they plan to get rid of. So we're going to talk about that, a few names, a little bit of discussion. I'm sure there'll be a poll in here as well. And all that usual good stuff. William Saliba as well, people. Craig said Lautaro Martinez, what a goal last night. Oh, that was a great goal. I actually wasn't that impressed with him in the game, if I'm being honest. I didn't think he was playing that well. There was one time where he tried to knock the ball past Van Dijk. It's like he looked up, saw Van Dijk and thought, I'll leave it. I'm not going to get that. But he did score an absolute belter, that's for sure. And Liverpool looked a little bit tired yesterday. Hope they play like that against Arsenal next Wednesday, that is for sure. M. Baron, I feel it every time C Unit is being dropped. I don't know how we ended up using that as the title. I think somebody might have said that, but yeah, it just seems to work anyway. Ed's Watercolours, this guy, keep time or we cross to Fran. Do both, you know. Big up my boy Fran, go watch him. He usually is on a bit earlier. Samuel said, I'm back, Curtis. First message, Haaland incoming. Samuel, you know what? It's a good job. You got a good sense of humour, and I respect that. You know, in this world, life sometimes a little serious. I'm all for the sense of humour. You know me. But Haaland, I'm telling you, Haaland is very close to going into the banned words on this channel because we are not getting him. I love the optimism, though. Penalty Spot said, Lacazette is good for the dressing room and youngsters, but he can't be our number 1 or even number 2 striker. We need better. The thing is, if he stays, will he keep the captaincy? I mean, listen, I'm going to break it down. We're going to look at his stats, a couple of things that have been said regarding Lacazette, and we'll kind of I'm sure we'll do a poll. Would you keep Lacazette kind of thing? This, that, the other. Let's get Gnabry. Gnabry scored again last night for Bayern Munich, which I don't think that was actually a good thing because I felt like the more he does well, the more Bayern Munich will give him what he wants. So I don't want him to actually score. But yeah, I saw Lewandowski, was it a hat-trick in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes? For me, the best striker in the world. There's a whole heap of capping going on, TalkSport and Sky at the moment. People saying that Kane's the best striker in the world. I'm like, listen, I rate Harry Kane. Let me not cap because he plays for Spurs, but Kane ain't Lewandowski. That is for sure. I would probably even take Benzema over Kane. I'm not even going to lie, but listen, you know, English tax, English bias. Mo said, Lacazette, thanks for the memories, but it's time to go. I hear you. I agree with that. Saeed looked depressed on the big 6. I'm telling you, man, I hope he has to pay because he trolls a lot. I can't lie. He trolls a heck of a lot. Oz said, personally, I think Lacazette's role has changed since Arteta's arrival. And that is a great point. And I said that on Monday's show when we was doing the player ratings. I was like, my criticism of Lacazette is the lack of goals. but maybe he's not in the team for that purpose anymore. Maybe he is Arsenal's Bobby Firmino. Now, we know Firmino, he's a man who gets 10 goals a lot of the time in the league. So, yeah. And the old man said lack of role. Yeah, maybe he has got a lack of role. Lack of goals, lack of threat, lack of role. But yeah, listen, we're going to discuss it and break it down. Gunman Khan said Benzi over Kane. There's a debate there. Listen, during the international break, right? The international break is after next weekend. So we're going to have 2 weeks of no major content to talk about. I'm going to do some different kind of shows during that time. And these are the kind of things that I'm going to do. Hope no other YouTubers are watching this and nicking these ideas, by the way. But yeah, we're going to do that. Who's the best striker in the world? Them kind of things. Top 5, we'll review. All kind of things like that. Get all of you involved and we'll do that. So, right, let's get into it. Big up all of you for tuning in. Buenos Aires said, bless up Curtis O'Paul as well. Listening from work as always. Blessed to all. Yes. Let's talk about Alexander Lacazette. We'll start with the story. Then we'll break it down, the stats. And then we'll get the opinions and the polls out, people. So this story is running out of France today. Forgive me on the name of the title of the article. According to Jean Foutet, Alexander Lacazette has totally convinced Mikel Arteta and Arsenal, and they are set to improve on the contract offer they originally made to him in December. Now, it seems like he was offered a 1-year extension in December and rejected it. Laka wants longer. He's 30 years of age. He turns 31 in May. Naturally, he's going to want security for him and his family. So he turned down the 1-year deal. Now they're saying he's convincing them to give him a new contract. And it won't be the contract that he got earlier in the season. Now, I'm not saying this is totally gospel truth, people. This could be made up. Arteta's been very cautious when he's spoken about Lacazette. He's always kind of said, we'll talk in the summer, we'll talk at the end of the season. Where with Eddie, he was always like, yeah, we're trying to get him, we're trying to this, that, the other. What could the difference be from that first contract? I would say at the most, if they were thinking about it, they could say, we'll give you 2 years. Maybe you give him 1 year with a 1-year option, I'll give you my thoughts. And then I want all of you to comment in the community and then we'll get a poll up. For me, and I've said this before, I'm a big fan of Lacazette in the sense that I like his personality. I like his attitude. I think he really buys into the football club. And I think he's a great influence in the dressing room. And those things are priceless in that sense. For me, I would let Lacazette go this summer. And it ain't easy to let him go because I do think he's very committed to the cause at Arsenal. He's on 170 grand at the moment, people. And, I mean, Rack said here, give him 120k on a 2-year contract. Now, see, maybe he would take a reduction if you gave him a longer contract. I just can't imagine in my head Lacazette in 2 years' time still being at a level that would be acceptable for where we want to be as a football club. I think Arsenal have fallen into this trap before. Mesut Ozil, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And let's be honest, those two were on form, big form when we gave them their contracts. Now, don't get me wrong. I know we're talking 300 grand for those guys. We might be talking 150 for Lacazette. I just think we need to be a bit more ruthless. One thing Arteta has been at times is ruthless, maybe too ruthless. And I think he should stick by that with Lacazette. I really do. We'll get a poll up in a second, people, but get your comments in regarding Lacazette. Mr. PKA said, big up Big C. We could do worse than Laka for a second striker, especially with his influence over the youngsters, but a main man needs to be brought in ahead of him. See, the question there, and you make a good point, but my question there would be, number one, would Lacazette accept being the second striker at Arsenal? At the moment, he's starting and he's captain. If he's the second striker, the armband's coming off him and you're a bench player. Now, obviously, if we're in Europe, he would get more game time because we got a lot of competitions to play in. Now, where there is an issue is that Lyon want him. The Lyon chairman has said they want him this summer. I think Lyon would give him 2 or 3 years on his contract. So it's that security issue, you know. Does he want that long deal? Would he be willing to take a year at Arsenal? Graham said, Curtis, I respect Lacazette for what he has done this season and his leadership qualities. However, I think he needs a new challenge and we need new blood in the forward position. The interesting thing, people, the last striker that Arsenal signed was Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. How crazy is that when you think everything he's been and done at the club and left? Our last striker was signed by Arsene Wenger in January. When, in that January, was it 2018, 17, 18? When Sanchez left. I think we need 2 new strikers. Listen, I appreciate the fact he stepped in. Let's be honest, if Aubameyang was on form and never did what he'd done, he wouldn't even be playing, I don't think. I think he'd be on the bench. Cormac said maybe he could do well in France. Different manager, different style of play. Samuel said, Curtis, are there 2 strikers available that can take us to the top? That's what they're going to have to figure out this summer, that is for sure. Salman said, we need a bad man again. Trust me, we need a machine. We need someone that teams are scared of, you know. Bentner said that Benzema for Kane, he's not having it. He rates Kane higher. Listen, Kane, what I meant with that, Kane for me is probably a better goal scorer in terms of he puts more numbers on the board, let's be honest. The role of a striker nowadays is not based purely on what you do in terms of goals. It's all-round game, you know. You've got to look at Benzema. This guy's played for Real Madrid for 10 years. 10 years as their number 9. For all the players they've signed that have been and gone, and Ronaldo obviously played wide, the one player that never moved was Karim Benzema. Now, you might look at the stats some years and go, well, he only got 18 goals and Kane might have got 28, 30 goals. But let me tell you, to play 10 years up front for Real Madrid, the biggest club in the world, that is not no joke. Listen, it's just a personal preference. I love the way Benzema plays football. His intelligence, his link-up play. I think he's absolute different class. I really do. But that's not to say I don't rate Kane, and it certainly would be a discussion. But the Benzema argument for me, you know, you can't have that argument with me. He's arguably my favourite striker in world football, I got to be honest. I've always wanted him at Arsenal. We've been linked with him a lot of times. Simon said, Liverpool fan, Sanchez scared me last night. What, did he scare you with his gameplay or with the stud marks he was putting on your players' kneecaps? He looked a little bit better yesterday, Sanchez. Looked a bit of his old self, but, you know, Sanchez, I don't even like talking about that guy. I really don't. The way he snaked us, I find it difficult to even mention his name. Kane has 10 goals, 3 assists for 25 games. 5 goals and 1 assist have come in his last 4 games. Where has he been before these games? Let's get real. Overhyped by a mile. Listen, this season he struggled. There's no doubt about it. And for me, I've always said with Harry Kane, one thing I'll always say about Harry Kane. You look at the biggest games of Harry Kane's career, and that would be FA Cup semi-final, Man United, a few years ago, got pocketed by Chris Smalling. You look at the World Cup semi-final against Croatia for England, didn't turn up. You know, could have given the ball to Sterling, 2-0, we're in the final. Hits it straight at the goalkeeper. Euros final, did nothing in the final against Italy. Tottenham Champions League final, did nothing. Got pocketed by Van Dijk. So as much as I rate Harry Kane, and I'm not just disrespecting him because he plays for Tottenham, he does not turn up in the biggest games of his career, and that is a fact. And I know a lot of Tottenham fans won't like that comment, but that is a fact. They're the biggest games of his career. World Cup semi, Champions League final, Euros final, FA Cup semi-final, even the League Cup final against Man City. He did absolutely nothing. Biggest games of his career, hasn't turned up for one of them. Not that I don't rate him, but Elliot said, love Lacazette, but we need to move on for the process to continue. Only if he's willing to accept a 1-year substitution plan B role, I will still accept him at the club. Yeah, listen, I think if Arsenal went and bought a striker for 60, 70 million, and they could just give him a year and say, sit down on the bench, but I don't think he'll take that. Listen, for me, if Arsenal give Lacazette a 2-year deal, I would be disappointed in the club. I got to be honest. I would be disappointed in the club because I don't think that sends out the right message. I think we're moving in a whole different direction. If we're going to go in that direction, go in that direction properly. You know, Lacazette has been at his ceiling for a number of years now, and he's not going to go any higher. You know, he's just not. Now, let's look at Lacazette's stats before we move on from him. Lily said, would you take Kane? Yeah, even though I'm kind of talking about Kane in that sense, of course we'd take Kane, but it could have been Sol Campbell part 2, you know. Fitz said, are Arsenal a serious club? If not, we offer Lacazette another contract and lumber along. If we are, then we buy 2 new strikers to actually start taking the club forward and wave bye to Lacazette. I would give Lacazette a big pat on the back at the end of the season, give him his 500 grand bonus for hopefully helping us into the top 4, and say, go back to Lyon and enjoy yourself, my friend. Let's look at his stats. And listen, I don't like to harp on about stats, but stats are part of football. Let's keep it 100. He's a goal-scoring striker that we signed. He's never hit 15 goals in a season at Arsenal in the league. When you look at this season, 3 goals in 20 games is not good. It's not good. It really isn't. You know, there's strikers at the bottom half of the table who are scoring more goals than that. Now, I know we're going to look at, okay, he's got 7 assists, which I respect. You've also got to bear in mind, he hasn't started all 20 of these games. Some of these were off the bench when Aubameyang was starting. But the goals tally is not good enough. And let's be honest, he's never... When Lacazette leaves this football club, from a goal-scoring point of view, he probably hasn't improved on Giroud, like Cello said. I remember when we signed Lacazette, I was very excited. His goal record in the French league was massive. It was massive. I mean, you look at here when we switched to the Lyon one, look his last 3 seasons. 27 goals in 33 league games. 21 in 34, and then 28 in 30 league games. Goal machine in France. Comes to Arsenal, never touched 15. His biggest season was actually under Arsene Wenger, and I didn't actually think he was that great in that first season. Listen, maybe his role has changed. Maybe he couldn't keep up with the Premier League in terms of the speed. I don't think Lacazette ever looked that quick when he was in the Prem. His role has changed. I think he's more of a link-up striker. But I still think there are strikers out there that we could get that would score more goals than him and could still offer things around us as well. South London's finest, big up, bro. Yeah, 1.3k in the chat already. Can we hit 1,000 likes? Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You know we're here daily, people. Champions League watch along tonight, 7:45, Real Madrid against PSG. Should be a good one. We'll see Benzema, we'll see Mbappe. Because I also have a lot of arguments about Mbappe, I don't know if you know as well. I always say that I think Mbappe is better than Haaland. That's another good debate that we can have, people. But let's not go off topic anyway. 6 million said, I see them same struggles for Jonathan David if he comes to the Prem. Frank says, big up from Jamaica. Big up, bro. Germ said, I know we don't like to talk about them, but I saw a quote saying Kane has 176 goals. None of them are iconic. That's a tricky one, isn't it? Has he got an iconic goal? How are you, Curtis? You missed another talk is cheap. Yeah, man. Big up Robbie. He stepped in, man. Robbie and Nketiah, you know. No, I'm joking, Rob, man. I'm joking. We'll give you a better rating than Nketiah still. But no, he stepped in, man. I was busy this week, so couldn't get to the studio to do the show. So yeah, man, I appreciate him stepping in. Lacazette makes Wiltord look like a great. Yeah, them man there, you know, Wiltord. Would you sell Lacazette and Eddie for Jonathan David? See, the Jonathan David one, I'm not sure at the moment. I'm not sure whether he's the answer or not. Honestly, I haven't seen enough of him. Yo, Robbie won't allow you back in AFT. Dear. Man said Curtis doing an Aubameyang on Talkish Cheap. Nah, none of that, man. None of that. I'm actually the early one, usually. But hey, Robbie and Ketia, yeah, man. Let him know. Let him know. Sanchez sending off is a disgrace. I've seen a lot of people saying that. I'm surprised. I think the first tackle was could have been a red card by itself. The first tackle for me is shocking. He could have done Thiago's knee ligaments with that challenge. Second one is harsh because, he wins the ball. He's trying to plant his foot and he catches Fabinho. That second one is unlucky. The second one is unlucky, to be fair. But what do? You've studded the man on his ankle. So whether you meant it or not, it's a tricky one in the modern game. Mbappe clear. I mean, listen, we'll talk about that more when we do the stream later on. But yeah, I always have this argument on Champions League games. I think Mbappe is better than Haaland. Haaland, for me, it's difficult for me to judge him yet because I've seen people rip up the German league. And he hasn't done nothing on the international level yet. And he doesn't get to the latter stages of the Champions League. I've seen Mbappe score in World Cup finals, Champions League semi-finals, hat-trick at Barcelona. I haven't seen Haaland have that kind of big moment yet. He goes and scores about 10 goals in the group stage of the Champions League, and then they get knocked out after about 2 games, To me, I think Mbappe's ahead of him at the moment. Maybe not a better goal-scoring striker through the middle, so they are slightly different. Like Box said, Haaland is a pure 9. Mbappe can play left, right and central. But I think Mbappe at this moment is ahead of Haaland. His trophy cabinet would definitely say that as well. Scotty said, Curtis, would you take Lewandowski? I mean, listen. I spoke about this on the channel the other day. There was a rumour that Lewandowski could have been available this summer for 400k a week if he doesn't get a new deal. I mean, for me, you're talking about the best striker in the world. Scored a hat-trick last night in, 18 minutes? He's got 40 goals this season, Lewandowski. He's got more goals in the Champions League than Kane's got in the league. He's got 12 Champions League goals already. Listen, mate, I would give him 400 grand a week for a year. He wouldn't come it. Let's be honest, that story is a whole heap of cap. For 1 year, I'd give it him. I don't care. I'm sorry. He's unbelievable in front of goal. Oh, was it 11 minutes? Age hasn't affected him right now. I know the Prem would be different for him, though. So if he gets 40 in Bundesliga, you might get 20 in the Prem. It's not the same. And you're playing for Bayern, who are 10 times better than everyone else. But we wouldn't get the deal done anyway. But how could I say no to Lewandowski? On what basis? I don't see how any Arsenal fan could say no to Lewandowski. The wages, I don't care about the wages. I got to be honest. Just build the best team possible. Raul said Mbappe has 300 career goals at the age of 23. Not even Messi, Ronaldo had this. Many, he is the natural successor. Listen, I think Mbappe, when those two, and they were already declining, let's be honest, I think he'll be the best player in the world. I've got to be honest. Salman said Lewandowski is out of this world. He's unbelievable. Noah said for 400k, rather not. But why would that bother you? I don't care. 400k is Aubameyang and Kolasinac leaving in January. If you gave Lewandowski 400 grand for a year, 2 years, and you get him on the cheap, I don't see why any Arsenal fan would say no. He's the best finisher in world football. Arteta would ruin him. Well, when I say best finisher, best striker finisher, Samar said, Lewa, Haaland and Mbappe won't join. Of course not. Of course not. Kevin said, Curtis, Lewa or Rashford. Listen, let me just clarify. So yesterday, we were talking about Rashford. Would you take him at Arsenal? It sparked a massive debate. I got so many comments after. People really don't like Rashford. All I said was, if you could get him for a cut price deal, I would consider it. But I don't think United would sell him on the cheap. So the money they would want for him, I wouldn't go for him. I just think sometimes in football, we use form as a beating stick for your actual level. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes, I look at Dele Alli, and someone said this. I look at Dele Alli now, and I feel like his career is going one way, and that is down. Everton is not a good move. I don't see how he gets a big move out of there and he could be finished. But sometimes a player just needs a change of environment. He needs a different club, a different city, and things can turn around. PSG want him apparently, which, is interesting. Lewandowski would be our new CDM. Curtis, doesn't 400k create dressing room unrest? It can, but not being funny, what player in the Arsenal dressing room could knock on the door and say, why is Lewandowski getting 400k and I'm not? I'd say, well, you go and do half of what he's done and then come and talk to me. It can cause unrest, but it's not. I think they would accept a player like that on that money. Would Rashford get you 20 plus? Would you play him out wide or up front? That's the problem. Listen, it's a gamble. It's a gamble. But let me tell you this. Let me ask you this when I make this point. First of all, I'm not saying I would sign him. I'm saying I would consider him, right? We were on the verge of signing Isaac for 75 million in January. Remember, our fan base was typing in number plates on Twitter. Where is he? Take a picture of the road. What road is that? Go on Google Maps. Go on the tax thing. Type it in. See if he's insured it. Oh, he insured it in London. He's signing for us. The man's got 4 goals this season. Alexander Isaac. He's never scored 20. He's done nothing on the international level. And a lot of our fans wanted us to spend 75 million on him. MI5 Gooners were out in full effect. They knew what he was eating for dinner, what nightclub he was in, what time his flight back to Spain was. They was all over that guy. 4 goals this season in La Liga. And Aubameyang's just got 5 in 5 games. So it's just, I think sometimes when you're signing a player that is from a different country and there's some good videos of him, we get hyped up about him. But when they're in our country sometime, now he's finished, he's a write-off, he's garbage. It's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. Let me get a poll up. First poll of the day. Would you give Lacazette a new contract? That'll be the first one. For me, no. As someone said, Lacazette, thanks for the memories, but it's time to go, in my opinion. Lead us to the Champions League as the top assist maker at Arsenal, because he ain't going to hit double figures, I don't think, for goals this season. Would you give Lacazette a new contract? For me, it's a no. I think he's had his time here. I really do. Would you give Lacazette a new contract? There you go. First poll is there, people. Elliot, such is the madness of the transfer window. Isaac, Arsenal, MI5. Yeah, listen. The striker situation at the moment is very up in the air, innit? There's no obvious answer. For me, I've always said the one I would get is Osimhen. Tall, quick, runs the channels, seems very difficult to play against. He's fast, he's young. Yeah, a little bit offside, I can't lie. He gets caught offside quite a lot. But I think he would be a difficult striker to play against in the Premier League. The problem is we know our Napoli move, man. They're on some mafia business. You can't just get out of Napoli under, you've seen Koulibaly. That brother's tried to leave about 10 times. He ain't going nowhere. To get Higuain out, they had to pay about 90 million for him when he went to Juventus. So I like Osimhen. I can't lie. That is the one I would go for. Every striker that we're being linked with has an element of risk. Amo said, Curtis, you love your pace merchants. I can't lie, people. I'm a FIFA player. I like 90 plus pace. I want runners. I think pace scares defenders. I really do. And that's why, I am a bit of a pace merchant. I can't lie. Kevin said, Curtis, we should have signed Vlahovic. He didn't want to sign for us, Kev. He just didn't. His mind was made up. He wanted Juve. Reem said 1-year deal and buy a big-name striker. Not that there's many number 9s in the market. Exactly. They have changed. Would he take the year and be in second choice? Imagine if we got Abraham. You know what? For me, I get this thrown at me a lot. You know me. I was talking with Chest in the summer, right? I'm not going to lie. A lot of people were saying to me when we were linked with Tammy, man, should we get him? I said, no, I don't want him anywhere near Arsenal and I don't rate him. And he's gone to Roma. And to be fair, I think somebody said the other day he's got 17 goals in all competition. Would I want Tammy Abraham at Arsenal? I still wouldn't want him at Arsenal. And I'm not capping. You know me, I'm willing to hold my hands up when I feel I've made the wrong judgment. I didn't want Aaron Ramsdale, and you've seen me say that, but I've held my hands up. He's done the business. I don't rate Tammy Abraham. He probably suits Italian football better. Slower game, bit more physical, bit more time on the ball. He's got a decent goal record overall, but I just do not like watching the guy play. I think technically he is improving, but I still think there's shortcomings in his game. And they paid 30 million for him, so they're going to want 40, 50 million for him. Would you be happy as an Arsenal fan paying 50 million for Tammy Abraham? I'm sorry, mate. I wouldn't want him anywhere near Arsenal Football Club. And I'm not being disrespectful. I'm looking at the whole package. You're not getting him on the cheap. You're going to pay big money for him, and I would not pay big money for Tammy. Big up the Smith. Big up, bro. He said, no, Lacazette and us are done. He's had his time. It's time to move on. Big up the channel. Yes, bro. Let me know when your next show's out as well. They've got a good show out. Group of my friends from Nottingham, Only Fools and Ballers. Put it in the chat and promote it. But yeah, for me, Lacazette's done. Foot birthday, Tammy. Yeah, it looks decent, man. He's an objective, though, innit? He's free. They don't put the top ballers in the objective. Arteta will convince Mbappe to come to us. Yeah, we can dream. Very harsh on Tammy. All right, let me add a bit of balance. That might sound very harsh the way I put that across. He has improved. He has improved. I'm not going to lie. He's improved in Italy. I just think sometimes certain players suit certain environments. Lukaku looked like one of the best strikers in the world at Inter Milan. Cost 100 million to bring him back to the Prem. Now, most Chelsea fans saying, get rid of him. Not good enough. Don't hold the ball up. First touch isn't good enough. Certain players need certain environments, you know, and I'm just not sure that Tammy would thrive in the Prem at Arsenal when we're trying to... One thing I'll give Lacazette credit for, technically he's good. His touch is good. His link-up play is good. I'm just not sure Tammy is built that way. But listen, it's another debate. Do you know what? That could be the second poll in a bit. I wouldn't take Tammy at Arsenal when you look at the numbers surrounding it. Like I said, they paid 30 million for him. You'd have to pay 45, 50 to get him. I just would not be paying 45, 50 million for Tammy Abraham. No disrespect on that foot card. Rashford over Tammy, like for me, and a lot of people won't agree with that, but I would. You offer me them two at the same price, I'm taking Rashford. I am. And I know a lot of you in the comments don't rate him. I got a tough crowd with this Rashford debate. If you offered me them two, I don't know what it is about Tammy. Maybe I have to go a bit easier on him, man. I'm just not convinced by him. Man said he's a big Eddie and Nketiah. Oh, dear me. Listen, the thing is, football doesn't always just work in he's done well there, so he can come here and do well. You know, there's a reason Chelsea binned him. Now, that doesn't always mean you're a bad player because Chelsea got rid of you, but Chelsea weren't doing that well up front. They had Timo Werner up front, missing sitters all the time. So why come Tammy didn't get in? I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh on him. Cormac, the difference with Rashford can play wide. Tammy can only play up front. So you can do different things with Rashford. You can't do anything different with Tammy. Zach said, Tammy for 35, I'd take him. I think you'd have to pay more. I think they'd want more profit. But maybe. It's a good debate. This is giving me another idea. We'll do a striker show during the international break and discuss who you think we should get. Big up to each and every one of you if you're tuning in, though. Love the debate. Love all the interaction. And Timo or Rashford. Charlie, you're just stirring trouble now, aren't you? Yeah, and remember, Turkish said he would take Timo Werner. You know what I mean? He said he would. I wouldn't take Timo Werner. I wouldn't take Timo. I can't lie. But listen, I get what he's saying because sometimes there's a player that it's just the wrong environment. He goes to the next club and he blows up. I just look at Timo. I think he misses sitters at Chelsea. His movement's unbelievable. But he misses sitters at Chelsea and they create more than us. So you bring him to Arsenal, he's getting less chances. So I just don't think it would work for him. I really don't. Funny said, Curtis, you missed my super chat. Lewa or Gnabry? Sorry, bro, that I missed your super chat. I'll go Gnabry. I mean, look, Oh man, that's a tough one. The thing is, Gnabry, you get him for 5, 6 years, but short-term impact, you might get more out of Lewa. But I'll go Gnabry just because it's long-term. It doesn't disrupt the dressing room as much. Like someone said earlier, 400k on Lewandowski, you know, it might mess up the whole dynamics. But listen, I'd want both of them. You know what I mean? I can't lie. Right, let's get into the next one. Someone said, 17 said, Defo Gnabry cares about our club. Right, a story that's come out today, people, is an interesting one. Transfers. It's come out of the Standard, and also the Athletic are running a similar story. We know the Athletic are the mouthpiece of the football club, so anything the club want to put out tends to go through them. And they're basically saying that Arsenal want to do a major transfer overhaul this summer. And let me bring the story up so you can see it. So this is coming out of the Standard. They are saying, and this story would make you think that Lacazette is not staying straight away, because the story starts off by saying Arsenal are prioritising 2 new strikers and a midfielder this summer as part of plans to back Mikel Arteta. The club are also exploring the possibility of signing a winger, a left-sided centre-back and a right-back. Now, that's interesting. I want to tell you why I think that's interesting. Now, this might not all be true. We know sometimes they chat rubbish. But they want a left-sided centre-back, which you would think would be to go and compete with Gabriel on the left. But then you think you've got Gabriel, you've got Ben White, and you would hope, have William Saliba back next season. You've also got Pablo Mari coming back off loan, who has no option to be bought, who though could be sold. You've got Rob Holding, who got a new contract. And you've got our favourite, Austin Trusty, coming from America. So it just makes you wonder, you know, do we need a centre-back, really? I don't know. Yeah, the War Chest Summer story is on the way. I'm surprised it isn't John Cross writing it. But yeah, they're going to tell us we're going to buy about 50 players. Austin Powers, Trusty the Process, is on his way, people. Although, listen, yeah, you know, is he going to be good enough to start for Arsenal and play? Probably not. It's probably money laundering. You know what I mean? Tax evasion deals that are brown envelopes. But a right back as well. You know what? I was talking about this earlier on a show that I went on. I went on Deluded's channel, by the way. Check that video out on his Twitch. And we were saying, you know, do you think Arsenal want another right back? There's still links at times with Tariq Lamptey. So are they looking to bring in a right back that attacks more and maybe use Tomiyasu as a centre back? Or, you know, I kind of look at it and think, do we really need a right back? Cedric's not a bad backup, and Tomiyasu seems like a good enough first choice, but it seems as if a lot of reports saying Arsenal want a right back. So I don't know if that's really a priority. It says we want 1 centre mid. I would say we probably need 2 centre mids with El Neni going as well. So that's an interesting one. Trusty season. Yeah, he'll probably play for the under-23s. But I'm not sure how old he is, actually. But I think he is in his early 20s. This story goes on, by the way. It said whether they qualify for the Champions League next season will determine the size of Arsenal's budget in the summer transfer market. They are ready to spend on players that they believe can take them to the next level. I mean, we hear that all the time, don't we? We hear that all the time. Oh, we're looking for players that will take us to the next level, blah, blah, blah. It said Arsenal have scouted 2 young midfielders in Palmeiras, Danilo and Carney of Aston Villa, suggesting 2 arrivals could come in that position. See, for me, with this part of the story, we need a prop. No, I don't want to use the word proper because, you know, these guys could be top players. But I think we need an established centre midfielder to come in as well. One that comes in and plays straight away. You know, now don't get me wrong, I'm all for Arsenal trying to pick up little Brazilian gems and stuff like that. But we did kind of do that with Lokonga last season, and he hasn't been a major success yet because he's probably not quite ready. Man said, who's that Zaha with an afro? That's harsh. But You don't know. It could be PR. It could be PR. The story goes on to say, here we go. We've got established ones there as well, people. In midfield, Arsenal are long-term admirers of Douglas Luiz, Ruben Neves, and Yuri Tillemans. Luiz and Tillemans will both have 1 year left on their respective contracts in the summer. Neither are close to signing an extension. Let me end that poll. 60% of you saying you would... No, 61% saying you wouldn't give Lacazette a new deal. 39% saying you would. I actually thought even more of you would say no there. Just quickly while we're talking. Out of these three centre midfielders, who would you rather take at Arsenal? It seems as if Douglas Luiz, Ruben Neves, Yuri Tillemans are the ones that they're naming. I've seen this in another article today as well. Luiz and Tillemans have a year left. So Neves would probably be the most expensive. Who would you rather take out of those three? They're quite different players as well, to be honest. Neves more of a ball player who dictates possession. Douglas Luiz a bit more feisty, can play but goes after the ball a bit. Yuri Tillemans a bit more attacking, probably got a goal in him. I have to admit, I like... do you know what? Here, go on, let's get another poll up. More polls than a strip club, people. Let's get all three of them up. Who would you pick? Who would you sign this summer? Let's get them all up. Neves... Douglas Luiz, Tillemans. All quite different. Like I said, I think Neves would be the most expensive. Tillemans. Right, there you go. The poll's up. Second poll of the day, people. Darren said Luiz. Box said Neves. And Gunnar says Tillemans. Yeah, glad we can agree on something. All three put three different answers in. Let's see. Tillemans with Partey will be more mobile. Thing is, do you know what? I like Tillemans. I think he's a good player. I really do. I like him. He's got a goal in him. I actually don't think he's that mobile. You know, I've seen him make a few mistakes this season against Tottenham and stuff, but he looks like he's kind of down in tools a little bit at Leicester. He looks like his mind is elsewhere, but he is a good player. We were linked with him when Arsene Wenger was in charge. I think he was at Monaco. And they were talking about him coming to Arsenal then. But he's definitely not that quick. I honestly don't think Tillemans is quick, but he is good on the ball. Neves is the more composed. I would say he's the more composed on the ball. The one that you would kind of go through to get the ball to. Elliot said Tillemans in a heartbeat would light up the left side in a 4-3-3. Neves and the general Partey said Scheib. Cass said definitely have a look at Tillemans on Sunday. Yeah, of course, yeah. We play Leicester this Sunday. Make sure you tune in for the watch along. Bumpy said the question should be, whom would suit the general Partey? And that's a good point. That is a good point. Which player is going to be the one that suits Thomas Partey's game more? Which one is going to be more reliable? You know, I have to admit, I haven't seen too much of Douglas Luiz. So I can't honestly give an in-depth rundown of how he is. I've seen him play a few times. He's had a couple of good games against Arsenal. But yeah, I think they're all an upgrade. Yeah, Basuma would be a good one, Peter, but he hasn't been linked with us. And I think while he has this court case hanging over him, I just don't think you're going to see him playing for Arsenal or anyone. I know Aston Villa were linked with him. Anyone but Xhaka said, Darian said, Neves was trashing the squad. Let him grind top 8 with Wolves. But I think secretly Neves is a fan. You know, I get the impression he's a fan deep down. You would like to play for us. Granit Xhaka said, no need to sign anyone. I'm here and staying next season. You're not wrong. You probably will be here next season, you know, which is the worrying part of it. Let me just quickly skip through the rest of the story, people. There was a bit more, I believe. So the story then said, Arsenal retain an interest in strikers, Alexander Isak, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Jonathan David, while Benfica's Darwin Núñez is another player being tracked. They are admirers of Armando Broja, but fear it is unlikely Chelsea would be willing to do business with that. I mean, clearly, they're just writing long, long lists. I mean, Isak, for me, I always said the numbers were too high. Jonathan David, I'm not sure. Núñez, I think, has been good this season. He is still a young player. And Brozier, I don't think Chelsea would ask for big money. He signed a 5-year deal in the summer. They wouldn't do us any favours. Graham said, what about James Ward-Prowse? I like Ward-Prowse, you know. I do. I'm surprised he's never been snapped up from Southampton, although he is a Southampton boy and a fan. He probably not in a desperate rush to leave, but certainly good enough to play for somebody better. Isaac is too raw, said Brian. He just not tidy enough for me and not for them prices. Leod said, Big C, thoughts on Tottenham for top 4. They've also got games in hand. They have a lot of easy fixtures left, unlike us. Listen, it's gonna be a difficult race to the top 4. Let's be honest. Kane seems to be hitting form. It's going to be difficult. We've got to play them away. They've got Manchester United this week. So, they may drop points there. Code said, I heard you are shortlisted. I'm ready, man. Give me 2 months to get fit. Shaib said, Nunes and David, Osimhen and Schick, all good players. Charlie said, can't say I'm blown away by any of these names. Not like when we signed Aubameyang. And you're right, Charlie, and this is the thing. Times have changed, aren't they, in football? When we signed Aubameyang, when we signed Sanchez, when we signed Ozil, I know they're not all strikers, but I'm talking about the level of player. We was like, yeah, man, we know what's coming through the door. We've seen it. We've seen it in the Champions League. I knew Aubameyang was going to score goals. I knew Sanchez was going to do bits. I knew Ozil was going to unlock defences. All of these signings, you're like, Darwin Núñez, all right, he's had a good year in Portugal. Okay. There's a lot of question marks over these players. And they're very expensive. None of these guys are particularly cheap. Which is where the risk is. But we're going to have to take a risk on someone, people. That is the problem. Shortage of strikers everywhere. It's crazy, isn't it? I remember when I was a kid trying to make it in football and being a striker. And when I went to clubs and I had trials at clubs and stuff like that, and you'd talk to players, oh, what position are you? Striker, striker, striker. You had so many strikers. Now I feel like everyone's a midfielder or a winger. Because most teams play one up front now. And we play 4-3-3, where probably 15 years ago, everyone was playing 4-4-2. So you had 2 strikers on the pitch and probably 2 strikers on the bench. So everyone needed at least 4. Now you can get away with 2 strikers. One plays through the middle, the other's on the bench. So the whole game of a striker has changed. Strikers getting 8 goals and being called world class because of their link-up play and hard work. The game has totally changed. Pep killed the strikers. Well, yeah. Pep and Mourinho. Because I remember when I was a striker, when I was younger, when I was playing, everybody was following what Drogba and Chelsea had done. Drogba was doing 2 men's work up there, so they went with a 3-man midfield and they used to dominate the midfield. So then everyone said, I've got to play one up front and get the wingers to score goals. So it's changed a lot. It really has changed a lot. It's strange how there is such a lack of strikers of a top quality level at the moment. They really are. Let's talk about William Saliba quick, people, before I start rounding up the show. William Saliba wants to prove himself in the Premier League. The full story says that Saliba is learning English and he's fully focused on coming back to the Prem next season. And it's believed it will be offered a 4-year contract with a pay rise as well. Although discussions will still take place over Saliba's role at the club. And that is the one potential sticking point of this whole deal. If Mikel Arteta turns around and says, Ben White and Gabriel is my partnership and you're number 3, that might not appeal to him. Hopefully he's up for that and he thinks, you know what, I'll back myself, I'm better than them, I'll get in this team. On the flip side, he might think, you know what, Marseille could be in the Champions League and I'll stay where I am. That is the big question mark, Who plays if he comes back? Is he on the bench? I feel at the moment, Ben White and Gabriel is his partnership. I suppose really what Saliba's got to do is come in, do pre-season and back himself that he's better than Ben White. Because, that would be the one you would expect him to more compete with, being that he's the right-sided centre-half. So, listen, I said... I've said a few times that I think Ben White's had a decent season. I'm still not fully convinced he's a £50 million centre-back. I think when you isolate him, I think you can get at him. But he has done well. He has brought something to the team that we lacked. And that's a calm head on the ball. Doesn't really get booked often. But I still think if I was Saliba, I would be looking at Ben White in particular as the right-sided centre-back and thinking, I can get him out of that team. It's whether he wants to have that battle or not. I hope he does. I really do. Des said the question should be which player will Arteta sign and ruin their career in under six. Des, don't, man. I'm on my best behaviour when it comes to Arteta, man. You know what I mean? I've been trying to big him up and everything. And you're trying to draw me out, man. Don't do that to me, man. Saliba has to be unbelievable in pre-season. Yeah, which he can. Santum said, isn't Marseille under the transfer ban? It hasn't actually kicked into effect yet, which is why they were able to sign Guendouzi. I think they're still complaining. Gunners Pitchside said he will come back, Big C. I hope you're right. I really hope you're right. I just think it'll be great to have him back at the club. Drew said, would he play a back three with Gabriel, Saliba and White? I think he could use that system sometimes. I just don't think he wants to play that. I remember the season we won the FA Cup. In a couple of interviews, they were talking about, will you continue with three at the back? You've just won the FA Cup. And he was very much saying, we need more control of the ball. You look at the way we won the FA Cup, we were playing counter-attacking football. He doesn't want to play like that. He wants control. He wants that Pep Guardiola domination of the ball. So I think you could play three at the back sometimes. I just don't think he would do it as a regular kind of thing. I'm just reading a story. Darren's just put it up. I was trying to find it then. He's put Leicester's Jamie Vardy is set to be out for a few weeks, says manager Brendan Rodgers, after the 35-year-old striker picked up a knee injury. Now, as I always say, I do not wish injury on any player. But people, Vardy has caused problems to Arsenal over the years. That is for sure. And I'm just seeing it now, people. Vardy has been ruled out of the game against Arsenal this weekend. Now, as I said, I don't wish injury on any player, and I hope it's nothing serious. But from an Arsenal point of view, no Vardy is good news because I don't like him playing against Arsenal. He always seems to have a point to prove that we never signed him, and he always wants to score against us. So, yeah, Vardy out of the game. Big up Darren with the update, man. I appreciate that. Although, look, they've got Patson Dakar and players like that. So we ended the poll. 46% of you said Yuri Tillemans. 38% said Ruben Neves. And then 14% Douglas Luiz. Where's the other 2%? Is that, am my maths wrong here? Well, that's what they're saying anyway. But, hey, 46% want Yuri Tillemans. 38% Ruben Neves. 14% Douglas Luiz. So there we go, people. Have to watch Barnes. I have to admit, I think he's a good player. I think Harvey Barnes is a good player. I don't know what it is about him, but he's got goals this season as well. I think he's a good player. Get your comments in, people, before we round up. Vardy tax, yeah. I think Vardy's at the beginning of the end for him. And that might sound a little bit harsh. I don't think his career's over now. I think this year you've seen with Vardy, there's a dip. He's getting injured a lot now. I think all that hard running that he's been doing for years, he come out of non-league. I played against him before, when he was at Fleetwood Town and that. He's been putting in some work. And I think it's starting to slowly catch up on him now, Patson Pace Merchant. Yeah, man, he's rapid, isn't he? Barnes is a baller. Like him. Saliba will be the next Van Dijk, mark my word. I mean, listen, I wouldn't even want to put that kind of pressure on him. I really wouldn't. I think that's the one issue when Saliba comes to Arsenal is that the fans are going to be expecting a lot from him. They're going to be like, listen, we waited years to see you play. Now I'm expecting all sorts. I like it, said Barnes is their main threat, Big C. Studied Vardy like mad. You watch how he moves, crazy. We should poach. He's good. He'd be expensive. Leicester don't let players go on the cheap. Look at Chilwell and look at Harry Maguire, the fridge, mate. Barnes, too much English tax. Man's running out of Red Bulls, I'm telling you. That's sponsorship, man. Let's have a look. Gabriel and White are Arteta's guys. No way he gives Saliba a chance because he didn't buy him. I think a lot of it will be down to what competition we're in next season, because if you... I think we'll be in Europe. I just don't know what European competition we'll be in. Now, for example, when we was in the Europa League last season, we played 14 games in the Europa League. And you got to think as well, we got knocked out of the FA Cup in the third round. You're potentially looking at like another 15, 16 games next season that we haven't had this season. So we're going to need a bigger squad. We are going to need a bigger squad. So, you know, I'm sure you can say you'll still get enough game time. Des says Ben White will be our next Rob Holding. We can't afford that, Des, I'm telling you. Not for 50 million. Gunners pitch side. Saliba got man of the match against Messi. He did. I watched that game. I did a watch along for it. He was brilliant. Saliba should remain as Mbappe of the back line. That's what they were calling him, innit? If he said, Curtis, it's the players and Arteta has always been the solution. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. J Mystery, big up Big C. Just finished work, so I'll watch back. Thanks for the content, bro. I appreciate it, man. Big up all of you in the comments. And everyone who watches, even everyone who watches afterwards. I realise, look, streaming in the middle of the day, some of you are, you know, studying or at work or you're out and about. So I appreciate everyone who tunes in live or whether you watch it back after. And even if you're watching it back after, get your comments in on some of the things we're debating. We'll stay on for a few more minutes, then I'll be out of here. Yeah, I am doing a watch-along tonight. Real Madrid against PSG. 7:45 will be live for that. Looking forward to that. Benzema and Mbappe. Two of my favourite players. So who's going to go through? Obviously, PSG 1-0 up from the first leg. Mbappe's goal. I think Neymar's back as well. Let's see. Curtis, did you see that report? That the Arsenal coaching staff see Lacazette as a 6. Yeah, I mean, he's. I think the sad thing for Lacazette this year is no Europe. He could have really done with us being in the Europa League, because when I look at Lacazette play, I see a bit of immaturity in his game that I think he will learn with game time. And because we've only really had the Prem this year, I think that's why he hasn't developed as well, you know. We appreciate you, bro. Big up, man. Colin said, you're doing a great job watching from the USA. And listen, this is what I said as well. I want to try and make it easier for people at times who are in different parts of the world. Like Fraser's saying here, tough to watch in the US, because I realize if you're in, for example, America, Canada, the Caribbean, that you're a certain amount of hours behind. So this may be early morning for you guys as well. So I am going to start chucking in the odd evening stream. We'll still do the 2 p.m. one, but some days, maybe twice a week, we do an evening one just to make it a little more accessible for people as well in different time zones. So big up to each and every one of you, man. Sambi will learn the speed of the English league. Time on the ball isn't there. That's it. You have to play quicker in the Prem. Amo said, I used to watch your shows back after when the fridge and clock in the background. We come a long way, man. We come a long way. Fridge and clock days, you know. Before that, man was just outside the ground after the game, man. You know what I mean? Phone out. It was that. Hey, here he is. Hey, I'm surprised. Hey, fair play for turning up. I appreciate you turning up. I need to shout you, actually. We need to get a show done. But, hey, man said Curtis Romano keeps smashing it. Hey, relax, man. Big up my bro, Saeed, man. Listen, needs no introduction. Make sure you subscribe to him. Boy, it ain't easy out there, as you would say. It ain't easy. Listen, for all the pain I've had to put up with as an Arsenal fan, I've never had to deal with the rival club like completely overtaking my club. Like, even though Tottenham have finished above us some years, we know deep down Arsenal bigger or better than Tottenham. But to see Manchester City, who was in League One, who you probably was so irrelevant, it's unbelievable. To see them just go to the top of Manchester and just start running that city. Jeez, man, yo. No wonder you turned up in a balaclava on the Big Six. I rate it highly, man. Yo, that blue moon is shining bright in Manchester right now, man. I'm telling you, you must be in agony. In Old Trafford the other week, they didn't have Wi-Fi. They didn't have food. They didn't have drink. I mean, what is going on over there? Listen, I have to fire shots. I can't lie. I have to lick them shots off. But fallen giants, man. Fallen giants. I was watching Premier League years the other day. Man U against Arsenal, man, at Highbury, and you just saw the players in both teams. Now you look at it, you think, what is going on? How can these two clubs be at the top of English football, and now we're also rans? We're in lane 7 and lane 8. Do you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Used to be like Morris Green and Usain Bolt and them man there, proper runners going for the gold. Nah, we're that guy in lane 8 who you've never heard of. Do you know what I mean? That's what we're on right now. I don't know what's going off, but hey, it's got to come from the owners, man. It's got to come from the owners. The Poznan seller. Nah, listen, I swear, I nearly locked off the stream, Lily. I said, listen, the Poznan celebration is just, I don't know if I could be in a stadium and see man do that to my team. They're basically saying your team's so scrubbed that we're going to turn around and not even watch the game. I'm sorry. That picture of Pep, where the fans were in the background doing the Poznan, I felt like joining in. I can't even lie. I was going to Poznan on the stream. Looking back, I should have done. But it's mad. It's mad. We're in lane 7 and lane 8. You know them man who they finish like 4 seconds behind Usain Bolt, but they get like a new record for their country or so. We're a mess right now. I can't lie. But listen, at least we're on the up, I hope. Champions League next year. 5-1 against Bayern. We're going to be back, people. Listen, big up to each and every one of you. Blue is in here as well. You must be loving life, man. You're living the high life. Like this video, subscribe, follow me on Twitch, link in the description. 7:45 tonight, Real Madrid against PSG. Join me for that if you're free and you want to get involved. If not, I'm back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Thursday, so we'll start building up to the game. I think the Arteta press conference is on Friday, so we'll do press conference reaction Friday. Watch along tonight. Arsenal content tomorrow. Enjoy your day. And listen, Arsenal, don't ever let Man City fans start Poznaning on us, because I will have a meltdown. But Saeed, it ain't easy out there, bro. It ain't easy. See you all later, people. Bless.